How do I set healthy boundaries between business and personal life? This is a great topic because in business, as an entrepreneur, you're going to get going. The sky is the limit and you just want to charge hard, right? But at the end of the day, you're going to get burnout. And if you don't balance work and your personal life, then it's going to seem like a blur, and it's actually going to seem like you're just working non-stop. And I know this from taking multiple businesses bootstrapped from nothing to something great, over $1 million in revenue. And a lot of these companies are still around. Actually, every one of them is still around today. So I build companies that last, and I am a part of companies that do even greater things. And the reason being in talking about this is because I like to include this here. I struggled with this early on. And if I could share some insight on this, the thing is this: work is supposed to be fun. You're an entrepreneur because you want to solve a problem, you want to do something great, you want to fix something, you want to bring your knowledge and your value to the world. However, it gets to a point, if you don't manage work and personal life, where it's going to be not fun. And you're going to go, what the hell am I doing? Why did I sign up for this? And so try to avoid that. And in doing so, you need to watch this video, but also understand what to look for when burnout is coming around the corner. So entrepreneurs, they also look at some lines and they blur these lines because they think that because you're an entrepreneur and because you have your business that it's just 24/7, 365. Listen, I get it. Early on when you start a business, you're going to want to work nonstop. But if you set parameters, these will be much better. And it's ironic because early on, I used to try to work 22 hours a day, 24 hours a day, sometimes bleed into the next day. And I'm like, oh my God, sales are coming in. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. And guess what? Then I burn out and then I'm off the charts for 2 days. I'm trying to recover. I'm tired. I have, my mind is just mush at that point. But it's ironic because fast forward 25 years later in business now, I have set schedules to an extent. I have set hours. I don't do certain things after certain hours. I take time for my family and I delegate more. And ironically enough, everything that I've taught in the last series and the last X amount of videos in this series and other series, I implemented, and this is along the way. And ironically enough, the output is greater than it was ever when I was doing everything myself and I was actually running those 22-hour days. I thought more equaled more, but it didn't. So burnout is real, and it destroys great businesses too, because you are going to have mood swings. People are not going to be able to get a hold of you when you're resting. I mean, it just leads to many other things, and it's the mindset really that will end up suffering the most, because you're going to be in a bad mood. You're going to show this. You're going to have negative thoughts. You're going to start hating the business. You're going to start hating the people in the business. These are real things. So if you can avoid this up front, then that'll be great. And how do you do this? It starts with boundaries, right? Defining your on and off hours. Yes, obviously, your normal business hours may be 9 to 5. However, you're probably getting up, you're starting with emails in the morning, and you're gonna work all the way until 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night, which are hours earlier and hours later than the business is actually open, because everybody else is there to collect a paycheck. You're there to make sure the business runs. So yes, ultimately, you have to put yourself in line and make sure that that happens. But at the end of the day, if you delegate correctly, if you have systems in place, if you have a manager that you can really rely on, this will make things so much better. Why? 2 reasons. A, you become the business owner and the visionary of the business, because typically there's the visionary, there's the leader, and then you have the manager. And you could break these down. There's different systems and different names for these different titles. But as the creative person that handles the creative side, you're typically in creative mode. You're not going to want to manage. You're not going to want to handle issues. You're not going to want to have your creativity stunted because there's issues going on that get your mindset in a bad place. So if you have a manager that's your right-hand person, this is going to be the best thing that you can do, because the second that I got managers in my business, it was like the sky was the limit again. I got to create, I got to do what I want, when I want, where I want, make sure the business runs, but it's on my time, and the manager's the buffer between any of the issues, the systems that are running in place, so on and so forth, and what actually gets over to me. I'm not in the business, I'm working on the business, and those are 2 totally different things. So scheduling personal time with the same priority as business meetings. My family early on said, why do you have to schedule family time? And to me, it was, look, if it's not on my calendar, then it doesn't exist. Why? You get to do what you want, when you want, where you want, right? That's why we chose to be entrepreneurs and start businesses. However, when you start working in the business and you're a slave to the business, working the 9 to 5, working before that, after that, you're handling everything. You don't have a manager in place. You don't have systems in place. You don't do what has been taught and showed to you on all the videos in these series. These are things that will start creeping up if they haven't yet, and you're gonna literally hate your position, and you're gonna go, you know what? I don't know why I did this. I would rather just work for somebody else. And it's funny because this actually happened recently to a client that I was coaching. I got brought on as a coach and a consultant for them. Great business. We have the sky was the limit in the real estate space, the lending space, and ultimately what ended up happening is many of these systems weren't followed. Many of the frameworks weren't followed. Many of the proactive items to get you in line to what you need to do to run the business effectively and efficiently, they were not followed. What ended up happening? It became a job, it became a nightmare, it became annoying. And then the person said, you know what, I'm done. I'm just gonna go work for somebody else. And they did that, and that's where they find their groove. Maybe the business wasn't for them. Hey, they tried, A for effort, right? But they could have avoided that. They could have had the systems in place, obviously listed the coach that they paid for, and then things would have been much better. Now, communication is gonna be key. And why is that? Because you need to set expectations with clients, you need to set expectations with employees, and you need to set expectations with your family. Now, what ends up happening here is this. You're in business mode, and your family is gonna try to talk to you. And you're gonna be in business mode, and so you're gonna reply in business mode. And I have this happen frequently with myself, still to date, and other businesses that I consult with. And you're going to reply probably emotionless, factual, you're in business mode. Well, guess what? It's both sides, right? Because yes, you probably shouldn't reply like that, but it's hard to switch from business mode immediately to personal mode, or from business whoever you are. I'll say business Chris over to personal Chris. It's mentally taxing. And I'll tell you this, that I had a warehouse that we lived in, and I went from business to personal, business to personal, business, and it was literally the most taxing thing ever on my mind, where I almost had 2 mental breakdowns. Twice, this almost happened. And I said, I can't do this anymore. This is bad for my health, literally bad for my mental health, my mental space, and things are a lot better now. Things are a lot more calm. I have managers that run these things, and I've set expectations. The expectations are, hey, when I'm in work mode during these hours, these are the types of replies that you're gonna get from me because I'm focused on something and I'm driven and I'm in work mode. During these hours, these are the types of replies that you get. Now, I've set the expectations, so if I violate those, then I'm the one in the wrong. But if somebody else expects different during those certain hours, well, then they're possibly in the wrong. All of it is communication, and it's setting expectations, right? Now, why you have a manager? Because simply put, the manager is there on and off the clock, right? They're the ones that need to handle the business. As a business owner that buys other businesses now, the first thing I do when I look at a business, I go, is the systems in place? Are things running? Is it profitable? Can I better the business? There's many other things I look at, but more importantly for me, can I put a manager in here and afford this manager, or is there a manager already in there that I can get a little bit better and they are able to run the entire business? Now, sometimes this manager might be able to be incentivized. The better they do, the more they take off your plate. Maybe they get a percentage, right? Maybe it's a flat rate. Everything is different and every situation's different. So you're gonna have to decide that. Ultimately, getting involved with a business, and if you're gonna buy one later on, and you have a manager in place, you wanna make sure that they're doing a good job, that there's checks and balances on them, and that ultimately you have to be aware of this. Should shit hit the fan, yes, you do have to step in. However, what are the contingency plans for that? Do you have the time? Do you have the resources? Do you have the money? And do you have the capability to do that? Or is there somebody else that's a number 2 below the manager that they can step up? That's your checks and balances. So that way you still have that buffer that you don't have to be called in. Now, yes, you know the most as the business owner because you're the one that started the business, but at the end of the day, you wanna make sure that the communication is open and the communication is there and is fluid, and the expectations are set on when to contact you, when not to contact you, what are the SOPs, who should they go to first. Like with my staff, you check the SOPs first, you check some of the repositories first for all the videos, you make sure that you take the time to make sure that you get your answer there first, and if you don't, then you come to me. Right? Because the last thing that I want is to get into a bad habit of my manager coming to me for everything. They're not managing, they're just taking up my time and they're just relaying messages. Don't get in that habit. set the expectations up front and make sure that they are followed, right? And so building a business that fits your life is what you want to do. You know, it's not the other way around. Don't build your life to fit the business. Now, the benefit with having a business here are many. There's many benefits, and I could list them, but this video would go on for hours, right? Obviously, tax benefits, travel benefits, all sorts of benefits, right? But when you're able to run things on your time, that is the best case scenario. Businesses that I have, I literally run from my phone via WhatsApp. Yes, I log into the systems and I check some systems from time to time, but I've set this up where it's a process now on multiple different companies where I'm able to look Monday morning, here's all the reports. Friday, here's some of the reports, maybe check something on Wednesday. Everything else, I'm connecting with people and contacting them, communicating with them through a WhatsApp chat, and I'm running the entire business. They're actually the ones running it. I'm the one communicating with them on the WhatsApp chat. Why? I'm the owner. People cannot talk to me. The owner's time is valuable. It's to the point now where somebody wants to get on the phone with the owner, the lead engineer of the company, or the lead designer of the company. There's a time limit that I set. Hey, 15-minute time limit for a discovery call. That's what I give you. If we need to go more than that, then there's going to be a cost for that. Maybe that doesn't fit your business, but guess what? Respect your time and value your time and ultimately communicate that forward, because your time is valuable. And if you get your time jacked with, that's the number one pet peeve in my life. It's when my time gets jacked with, and it should be yours as well, because time you don't get back. Even if somebody pays you $1 million an hour, that $1 million took you away from your family and your kid's first goal at their first soccer game or something like that. And that was a triumphant moment in their life that they're never going to forget. But hey, they're going to remember that dad or mom wasn't there. Would you take that $1 million? Exactly. That's the question that you have to ask. Money cannot replace time. And so time should be the number one biggest pet peeve when it gets messed with in your business. That's what you should be looking at. Now, create physical boundaries. Ultimately, your home, your office, your work zone, work-free zones. I have office. In our house here, we have recording studios, we have offices, we have certain spaces. Me and my wife are working almost all the time. She's able to work on her laptop on the marketing business. I'm able to work on my desktop. We're able to record videos like this. So this is great because we really don't have to leave the house, but we have 5 different locations within the house that I can record from. If I have to leave, so be it. Now, there's many other businesses that I would go to warehouses. I will check on the systems. I'll check on certain things. They need a manager to come look at a system before it goes out, a high value system. Those are things that I deal with. So I already know that that works, but I'm always stacking my schedule to where it benefits me so that if I need to watch a video or if I need to take a call, I can take it on the way to one of these places. So I'm trying to do a Tetris with my entire life so that I'm not wasting time. And the better that you are on that, the better skill stack, time stack, and event stack that you'll have, and you'll take care of everything so that you're never wasting time. Ultimately, you want to trust the systems and the team, right? Like we talked about, have your manager in place, have your teams in place, and have everything there so that you're not the bottleneck, right? We just had a situation where I took a week off and there was like 5 things that came to a conclude. They concluded in this specific amount of time when I was off. And so they got pushed to when I came back. Not to mention it was the start of the second quarter. It was the start of the month. We had everything kind of land on a certain date, and ultimately things got pushed back. Unfortunately, that happens time to time. I call it the red light effect. When you're going somewhere and you hit every single red light on the way there. Yes, it sucks sometimes, but that's the nature of the beast. I try to avoid it, but I learn from it every time. What could I have done differently? What should I have done differently? How could I avoid this in the future or in the last occurrence that it appeared? So ultimately, remember one thing that's more important than anything. Rest and recovery is best part of peak performance, because if you're not resting, if you're not mentally there, and I've learned this after 25 years, somebody told me this early on and I thought that it was BS. Mentally, it starts with your mind, your thoughts, your actions, what you say, what you do, and then exerts out into the ethers or around you, right? If you're lacking sleep, your decision patterns are going to be delayed. They're not going to be the best decisions. Things are not going to happen in the manner that you want them to happen. You're going to feel like you're playing the victim. You're going to get irritated with people. And guess what? You put off this negative resonance, it's going to come right back at you. And it's a negative feedback loop and a downward spiral. Don't get into that. I value sleep. 8 hours of sleep a night, 7-8 hours of sleep. Are there nights that I'm going to get 6? Of course. But in doing this and treating myself first, when I get up in the morning, I read first thing in the morning, get my cup of coffee. Sometimes I got to get right on the computer. But if I'm getting right on the computer and I'm inundated with orders and everything going on in the business, then I become the victim and I go, oh my gosh, I can't take this anymore. Like, this is not what I signed up for. I feel like I can't get my head above water. But if the systems are running nice, then it's easy. I get on, I get up in the morning, have the cup of coffee, read my time first, get the sauna, then I get into the business and I hit up my managers and say, hey, what's going on? What's happening here? My CEOs, other people that are involved in this, and I look at what's going on in the business, and I get that through the messages and the conversations I have with them versus me being in the business. I'm able to work on the business, the direction, the marketing, where are we going, and I actually have fun with it, right? So the key takeaway of this is protecting energy. Protecting your energy is actually going to protect your business, right? That's the best thing. So if you could protect your energy, you're going to protect the business. If you get the systems in place, the methods in place, and the people in place. Systems, methods, processes, and people, process, product, right? Get these in place and you'll have a much better time. You'll love the business instead of thinking that you're working for somebody else in the business. Now, the next episode, we're going to be talking about how do I protect my business from legal and financial risks as I grow. I'll see you there.